She declared, "I'm too spiritual for material things," while wearing designer clothes. I said, "I admire your detachment," so I detached her name from my will and all my investments. Her spirituality took a very material hit when my lawyer explained the consequences. I, 58 male, built a decent life for my family. Nothing crazy. I run a small accounting firm with 12 employees, saved religiously, made smart investments. My wife Diane and I raised 2 kids, our son Bradley, 28, who's a nurse, and our daughter Sophia, 25. Sophia was always different. Not bad different, just exhausting different. Everything was a phase with her. The goth phase at 14, the entrepreneur phase at 17, where she needed $5 for a revolutionary jewelry business that lasted 3 weeks. The influencer phase at 20, where she quit college because traditional education kills creativity. We supported her through it all. Paid for the college she dropped out of. Covered her rent when her various ventures failed. Bought her a car when hers got repossessed. Diane and I figured she'd eventually find herself. Then 6 months ago, Sophia discovered spirituality. Started with yoga classes, fine. Then meditation retreats, okay? Then suddenly she's posting about ascending to higher consciousness and rejecting the material plane. She moved into some commune-style house with people who call themselves lightworkers. The irony? She'd show up to family dinners preaching about detachment from worldly possessions while wearing $300 Lululemon leggings, carrying a $2,000 designer bag, and checking her iPhone 14 Pro every 5 minutes. "Money is just energy, Dad," she'd say, while asking me to Venmo her rent money. "I'm too evolved for the capitalist matrix." The breaking point came 3 weeks ago at Diane's birthday dinner. Bradley had saved up to take us somewhere nice. Real cloth napkins, the works. Sophia showed up an hour late in full spiritual warrior regalia, crystals, sage bundle, the whole deal, but also wearing what I recognized as new Balenciaga sneakers. I know because she'd posted about them on Instagram with her blessed and stressed. She spent the entire dinner lecturing Bradley about how his job was feeding the medical industrial complex, and how I was hoarding resources that should flow freely. Then she ordered the most expensive thing on the menu, the Wagyu beef. "I thought you were vegetarian now?" Diane asked. "I'm intuitive eating, Mom. My body temple demanded protein." When the check came, she made a big show of closing her eyes and touching her crystal. "I'm sending abundance energy to cover my portion," she announced. "The universe will provide." Bradley, bless him, just sighed and covered her part. As we were leaving, Sophia pulled me aside. "Dad, I need to talk to you about something important." Here it comes, I thought. I've been selected for this exclusive spiritual entrepreneurship retreat in Sedona. It's going to revolutionize how I channel abundance. I just need $8,000 for the investment. Investment in what? In my spiritual journey. They're going to teach me how to monetize my high vibrational frequency, but I need to act fast. Mercury's going retrograde soon. I looked at my daughter, standing there in designer clothes that probably cost more than some people's rent, asking me for $8,000 to learn how to monetize vibrations. No. No? Dad, you don't understand. This is about my soul's purpose. Then your soul can purpose its way to a job and save up. She started ranting about how I was spiritually constipated and blocking her divine path. I just walked to my car. Her last words were, "I'm too spiritual for material things anyway. Money means nothing to me." "I admire your detachment," I said, and drove off. That night, I made some calls. Update 1. Okay, so after reading your comments, yes, I probably should have seen this coming years ago. And yeah, I enabled her. Diane and I both did. But when it's your kid, you keep hoping they'll grow out of it, you know? Anyway, after the birthday dinner fiasco, I did some serious thinking. Sophia's 25. She's been finding herself on my dime for 7 years. And now, she's literally telling me that she's above material concerns while asking for more material support. So I made some decisions. First, I called my lawyer, Robert, told him I needed to update my will and restructure some investments. He sensed drama immediately. We've been friends since college. "Finally cutting off Sophia?" he asked. "How'd you know?" "Man, you've been complaining about her phases for years. What's she into now?" "Spirituality, but like expensive spirituality," he laughed. "Say no more. Come by tomorrow." Next, I reviewed all my financial accounts. Here's what I found. She was still listed as beneficiary on 2 of my investment accounts, about $200 total. She was co-owner on a savings account I'd set up when she was 16 and forgot about, currently had 15K. She was in my will to inherit 50% of everything, with Bradley getting the other half. She had an authorized user card on one of my credit accounts that I'd been meaning to cancel for 2 years. I also discovered she'd been using that credit card more than I realized. Nothing crazy, but $500 to $800 a month on various spiritual supplies and healing services. One charge was for $400 at something called Crystal Vortex Emporium, another for $300 at Sacred Sage Sanctuary. The savings account showed interesting activity too. She'd been slowly draining it, small amounts, $200 here, $300 there, always just under the amount that would trigger a notification. The next day, I went to Robert's office and got to work. Removed her as beneficiary from all investment accounts. Changed my will to leave her exactly $1. Robert's suggestion prevents her from contesting it as an oversight. Set up a trust for Bradley's future kids instead. Removed her from the savings account. Canceled her authorized user status. Robert asked if I wanted to tell her. I said no. If she's so spiritually evolved beyond material things, she won't care anyway, right? But here's where it gets interesting. That night, I get a call from my sister Teresa. What's this about you financially abusing Sophia? Excuse me. She called me crying, saying you're using money to control her spiritual growth. I explained the situation. Teresa actually laughed. She asked me for $5,000 last month for some crystal healing certification. I told her to get a job at Target. They're hiring. Turns out Sophia had been making the rounds to extended family, telling everyone I was financially manipulating her. The general consensus among the relatives? About time I cut her off. But the real kicker came 3 days later. Remember that savings account I removed her from? Well, she tried to withdraw $2,000 for her Sedona retreat. The bank called me since I'm now the sole owner. Sir, we have someone here claiming to be your daughter, trying to access an account. She says there must be a mistake. I could hear Sophia in the background, getting increasingly agitated, talking about Mercury retrograde affecting the banking system. I told them she was no longer authorized on the account. The bank manager asked if I wanted to speak to her. I said no. 20 minutes later, my phone exploded with texts. Update 2. So the texts after the bank incident were something. Started spiritual, quickly devolved. Dad, the universe is testing our connection through material barriers. I can't believe you're blocking my abundance flow. This is exactly what my shaman warned me about, ancestral money trauma. Are you seriously not answering me? This is financial abuse. I'm your daughter. Then she tried calling. I didn't answer. She left a 5-minute voicemail that went from divine intervention to screaming about needing that money for her retreat. Diane was upset I hadn't discussed it with her first. Fair point. But she also agreed Sophia needed consequences. We decided to present a united front. 2 days later, Sophia showed up at our house at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. She was in full spiritual garb, flowing white clothes, crystals everywhere, sage bundle in hand. But I noticed her aura of enlightenment was accessorized with a brand new YSL bag. We need to talk about your toxic relationship with money, she announced when I opened the door. It's 6 a.m., Sophia. Time is an illusion, Dad, but your bank account isn't, apparently. I let her in. Diane came downstairs, saw the sage, and immediately opened windows. You're not burning that in here. I just had the carpets cleaned. Sophia launched into what I can only describe as a TED Talk meets revival meeting. Highlights included, money is energy, and I'm constipating the universal flow. Her spiritual teacher, who charges $200 per hour, says I have scarcity mindset. She's ascending to a higher plane where material needs will be met by the universe. But also she really needs that $8 for Sedona. I let her finish. Then I said, if you're beyond material needs, why do you need material money? It's not about the money, it's about you supporting my journey. I supported your jewelry business, your influencer career, your art phase, your DJ equipment, Those were stepping stones to my true calling. Diane cut in. Which is what? Exactly. What's your plan after this retreat? Sophia got defensive. I'll be a spiritual abundance coach. I'll teach others to manifest wealth through cosmic alignment. How much does that pay? I asked. Tad, it's not about money, it's about service. Service doesn't pay rent. The universe provides. The universe hasn't been providing. I have, and I'm done. She went quiet. Then, in a small voice, what do you mean done? I explained calmly that I'd removed her from my accounts, my will, everything except a token dollar. If she was truly beyond material concerns, this shouldn't matter. The transformation was instant. Gone was the enlightened spiritual being. In her place was a very angry 25-year-old. You can't do this. Already did. Mom, tell him. Diane shook her head. We love you, Sophia, but you're an adult. Either money matters or it doesn't. You can't have it both ways. What followed was less spiritual awakening, more toddler tantrum. She accused us of not understanding her gifts, being jealous of her enlightenment, sabotaging her success, being spiritually constipated, her favorite phrase, choosing money over family. Then came the threats. She'd sue us, she'd expose us on social media as abusive parents, she'd have her spiritual community send us negative energy. Okay, I said, good luck with that. She stormed out, but not before grabbing fruit from our kitchen. I'm taking this. The universe wants me to have it. Bradley called that night. Sophia just hit me up for $10K. For Sedona? No, now she needs it for a lawyer to sue you. I told her good luck finding a lawyer who accepts payment in sage and crystals. But the real drama started when Robert, my lawyer, called. Final update. So Sophia actually found a lawyer, kind of. Turns out one of her lightworker housemates is a guy named Phoenix, who used to be a paralegal before he discovered his true calling as a sound healer. He filed some sort of complaint on her behalf about elder abuse and financial manipulation. Robert called me laughing. Did you know you're apparently holding her inheritance hostage to force her to abandon her spiritual path? The complaint was creative. It claimed I was guilty of spiritual discrimination, creating karmic debt through financial withholding, violating her rights as a sovereign being of light, causing her manifestation abilities to be blocked. It also demanded $500,000 for emotional and spiritual damages. Robert's response was beautiful. He simply sent back documentation showing every payment I'd made to support her over the years, totaling $186,000. The fact that there's no legal obligation to support adult children. A lovely screenshot of her Instagram post from 2 weeks prior stating, material wealth is an illusion, beyond money has spiritually rich. Phoenix tried to argue, but it turns out sound healing certifications don't mean much in court. Meanwhile, Sophia's spiritual journey hit some material roadblocks. First, without my credit card, she couldn't maintain her lifestyle. The designer clothes and expensive retreats dried up. Her Instagram shifted from abundance queen posts to the beauty of simplicity. Second, her commune kicked her out. Apparently, being spiritual doesn't exempt you from paying your share of rent. Who knew the universe had a payment deadline? She moved in with a friend, then another friend, burning bridges as she went by, promising to pay them back when Mercury goes direct or after the next full moon. The Sedona retreat came and went without her. She posted about how the universe had other plans and she was meant to find enlightenment through struggle. Then came the job applications. Bradley sent me screenshots. She was applying to places but listing her experience as spiritual abundance coordinator, unemployed, cosmic energy consultant, asking dad for money, manifestation expert, failed businesses. Shockingly, she wasn't getting callbacks. A month ago, she showed up at the house again. No flowing robes this time, just regular clothes, tired eyes. I need help, she said quietly. What happened to the universe providing? Can we skip the lecture? I invited her in. She looked rough. The designer bags were gone, the expensive sneakers replaced with regular ones. I'm not giving you money, I said up front. I know, I don't know what to do. For the first time in years, she seemed genuinely lost rather than performatively spiritual. Diane and I had discussed this possibility. We were prepared. We'll help you help yourself, Diane said. We'll cover a security deposit for an apartment if you have a job. We'll pay for community college if you actually attend. But no more handouts. That's it. That's more than most 25-year-olds get, I pointed out. She started to argue, then stopped. Bradley won't even talk to me anymore. You tried to borrow his identity for a credit card application. I was desperate, and it was just to tide me over until what? The universe suddenly starts paying your bills. She left without taking our offer, posted some stuff about toxic family dynamics and choosing poverty over conformity. Last week, Teresa told me Sophia got a job at a wellness store in the mall. Minimum wage, but it's something. She's also back living with one of her spiritual friends, but actually paying rent this time. She hasn't spoken to Diane or me since that last visit. Bradley says she seems different when he's seen her around town. Less performative, more tired. Do I regret cutting her off? Sometimes. When I remember the little girl who used to build fairy houses in the backyard, yeah, it hurts. But that little girl grew into an adult who thought the world owed her everything while she contributed nothing. Who preached enlightenment while demanding material support. Who claimed money meant nothing while spending everyone else's. Maybe she'll figure it out. Maybe she'll find actual balance between whatever spiritual path she wants and the reality of being an adult. Maybe she'll realize that true spirituality doesn't require designer clothes and expensive retreats. Or maybe not. But that's her journey now, not mine. Robert asked if I want to change my will back if she reforms. I said no. That bridge is burned. The trust for Bradley's future kids stands. Funny thing though, Bradley told me the wellness store customers love her. Apparently, she's actually good at helping people find what they need when she's not performing her enlightened being act. She actually knows a lot about that stuff, he said, when she's not being insufferable about it. So maybe there's hope. Or maybe not. Either way, the universe is going to have to provide for her now. My wallet is officially closed. And you know what? I sleep better. Diane and I are taking a vacation next month, to Sedona, ironically. We're going to spend the money I would have given Sophia on ourselves instead. The universe provided after all. Just not how she expected.